Everybody can hear me? Okay, cool. Oh, all right, awesome. Okay, cool. All right, good morning, everybody. My name is Melissa, and I'm a graduate of the One Voice Teacher Training Program as of this March. Super happy to be back at Mystic, so thank you all for coming in. And we're live streaming. For everybody watching at home, we're live streaming every day at 9 a.m. And we're also taking people in class at a limited capacity. So absolutely honored to be here. Thank you for giving me your time and patience. And feel free to just get comfortable on your mat, however that looks for you. It's just these first few moments that we dedicate in the beginning of the practice to simply arrive. Begin to notice the sensation of weight and the earth below you. Feel your heartbeat. And just kind of generally asking yourself how your body is feeling today. There might be a sense of heaviness or lightness, sluggishness or energy. There's no right or wrong, just checking in. And just gently scanning down from the top of your head to your toes. Not getting stuck in any one area, just noticing. And if you haven't already, begin to notice the sensation of the breath. It might feel good to put a hand on your belly or a hand on your heart and just tune into that rising and falling. Take a big in-breath. Open your mouth, let it go. One more time. Inhale. Let it go. This next in-breath, fill your lungs. Close your mouth and constrict the muscles in your back of your throat. Let it out through your nose. Your Ujjayi breath begins to build a little fire in the body. Sounds like waves crashing. And this is really the foundation of your yoga practice right here. Everything else, the asanas, the physical postures, that's just what we add on. So stay connected to your breath and know that at any moment in this class or outside of these walls, you have your breath to return back to. And it's a productive and present place to be. With that in mind, you can begin to use your breath to take some movements that feel good to you. So maybe on an inhale, you reach your hands above and stretch. You can begin to wake up the toes and circle the ankles and the wrists. Just whatever feels good. Again, staying with your breath. Take a big inhale. On an exhale, grab your left wrist and drag it over to the right. And it might feel good to cross your left ankle over your right. Just getting into the side body in this half banana shape. It might feel good to hold it static. You might kind of rock back and forth or come in and out of it. Big breath in. Exhale. Coming back towards center. Big breath in. And drag your right wrist over to the left. You can cross your right ankle over your left. Opening up the right side body. And returning back towards center. You can bend your knees and place your feet underneath your knees. Pull your right knee into your chest, give it a little squeeze. And you can drop it out towards the side and begin to circle it forward and around. Just lubricating the hip joint. It might feel good to extend the left leg down or keep it bent. Just taking some hip circles here. A few times in one direction and then a few times in the other. And then when you feel ready, you can interlace your hands behind your right thigh, and on an exhale, press your heel up towards the sky, toes pointing towards shin. Inhale, pull the knee towards the chest. Exhale, send it back up. Just getting into the hamstrings. Moving with your breath. And then on your last exhale, with your foot up in the sky, take some ankle circles. 5 times in one direction and 5 in the other. And slowly release down, taking it to the other side. Left knee hugging in towards your chest. And just moving with your breath and getting into the hip joint. Maybe rocking the knee side to side, making some circles, extending it down. And then when you're ready, interlacing your hands behind your left thigh. Take an in-breath, and on the out-breath, extend your left heel up towards the sky, toes pointing towards shin. In-breath back in. Exhale, press up. And on that last exhale, with your foot in the sky, taking some ankle circles, 5 times in one direction, and 5 in the next. Slowly releasing the left leg down. Take a big inhale, full body stretch. And you can slowly roll over to your side. Make your way to a seated position. However you get there, just take an inhale and reach up towards the sky. You can circle the wrists. A couple times in each direction. And you can bring the hands to the shoulders and begin to circle the elbows. Letting the neck get into it as well. And when your wrists are shaken out, you can return to your tabletop position, stacking shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. On an inhale, drop the belly, look up. Exhale, press the floor away and curl. Just taking some arches and curls like this, flexing and extending the spine. And begin to make it into some organic movements. So it might feel good to separate the knees a little bit wider and begin to take some back and forth presses and side to side motions with the hips. Always sticking with your breath. As you begin to lubricate these joints that can often be stuck in the same way for so long, the body can tense up. So it's important to give yourself some loving, compassionate breaths to remind your body and your nervous system that it's okay and you're safe. A few more arches and curls and breaths here. Just fluid movement. And when you're ready, you can send your hips over your heels for your child's pose. Letting your forehead rest down, or if you have a block at home. And just taking some deep breaths here. You can imagine I'm gently applying a down and back pressure from your low back in the world of assisting. Another big breath here. And let it go. Slowly returning to your tabletop. And just find that neutral spine. See if you can engage your core. And imagine I'm balancing a glass of water on your low back. And try to see that you can be not too arched, not too curled, where it would balance. Core engaged. And begin to send your left leg out behind you while maintaining this active core. Foot flex. And if it's in your practice, you can extend your right arm up as well. And on an exhale, you can bring it all into the center, tapping left knee to right elbow. Inhale, stretch back out. Exhale, curl. Do 10 more of these, moving with your breath. Nice. And then when you're ready, just coming back towards center. Big breath in. And now taking it to the right side, sending the right leg back behind you. Left arm up if it's in your practice. And then curling and exhaling. So a lot of times in yoga and fitness, we often jump into these really big postures that can incorporate muscles and joints that actually hold a lot of emotional tension. So it's really important to be with your body as it opens up to activate those muscles. So that's what we're doing here. Be present with the glutes, the abs, the hips. Nice. Returning to center. Just taking some fire hydrants now. So take your left knee and just adduct it out towards the side, lifting it to your degree of comfort, squeezing at the top, and returning down. Couple more times. This is opening up the hip flexors as well as activating the glutes. So that mind-muscle connection can occur here. Taking it to the right side. You can move slower and stay with the muscle and even pulse at the top, or you can move fast and get more reps in. Just depends on what your muscles are really calling for. But mainly here is just to take your mind and use this as a meditative practice to stay present with your body. Nice. And then returning to center, you just take some back and forth presses into your downward dog. Child's pose. And back up to tabletop. Just moving with your breath, kind of evening anything out, taking any organic movement you might need. And then once you're in your tabletop, curl your toes under and just find a bear pose by maintaining that neutral spine and lifting the knees off the ground just by an inch. In breath, out breath, let it go. This time, same thing, lift your knees up just by an inch and send your hips up and back for your first down dog. Pedal out the feet, shake the head yes and no. You can take some back and forth presses from your plank to your down dog. So activate, spread your fingers, activate all 10 fingers into the ground. Wrap the shoulders away. It might feel good to bend the knees so that you can send the hips back a little bit more. And then walk your feet slowly forward and hang in a forward fold. Might feel good to provide some assistance for yourself by placing your elbows on your thighs, or you can just try to reach the ground, whatever your level of comfort is here. But so this is where that degree of play comes in. As we start to build heat in the body and get closer to our asanas, a lot of times there's a level of seriousness to it, but sometimes when we're dealing with uncomfortable or serious situations, it's that level of play and clarity that is actually going to get us through it. So if you'd like to shake your head, if you want to reach in between your legs, if you want to kind of reach over to the side, take some big breaths, it's your practice, and it's a creative one. One more breath. And then find your chair pose by sinking down, letting your toes touch, knees over ankles. And take your left elbow to your left thigh, placing your left hand on your right thigh, and swoop up on the inhale with your right arm. Exhale, lower down towards center. Inhale, swoop up. 3 more times. Moving with your breath. In your last inhale, pause at the top. You can circle the wrist around and coming back towards center. Taking it to the other side now. Right elbow to right thigh and left arm swooping up on the inhale. Exhale, return towards center. This is Utkatasana, chair pose with a flowy twist. And at the top of your last twist, just taking a breath, circling the wrist, and release down, forward fold. Inhale, arms sweep all the way up, hands to heart center. And it might feel good to just take a moment here. Find your Tadasana mountain pose. Imagine I'm pulling a string connected from the base of your spine up through the crown of your head. And it might feel good here to just set an intention, not just for your practice today, but for how you show up for yourself and for everybody else this week. Inhale, arms sweep up. Exhale, lowers you down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to shins, flat back. Exhale, hands plant, step back for your plank pose. In your plank, all 10 knuckles into the ground, and you can drop your knees and lower down to the ground for low cobra. And exhale. And open the heart up, keeping elbows squeezed into the sides. It might feel good to tent your fingers. And exhale, push back through tabletop. Curl the toes, tuck them under, and push back for down dog. You can either walk or float to the top of your mat. Forward fold. Inhale, arms sweep up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands plant, feet step back. You can either lower the knees or you can chaturanga, high to low push-up. Inhale, heart lifts. Shoelace sides of the feet on the ground. Slight bend in the elbows. Exhale, tuck the toes, curl them under, down dog. Couple resetting breaths here. From your down dog, take your right leg up on an inhale. Exhale, curl right knee to the chest. Inhale, send it back up. Exhale, curl your knee and step right foot towards right thumb. In your runner's lunge, make sure feet are hip distance apart. And find your thunderbolt position by placing your right hand to the outside of your right knee to activate your glute and send your left arm up and forward. Couple breaths here. And on your exhale, you can lower your left arm down and step your right foot out a little bit more, even off your mat. You can lower the right foot. You can lower the left knee and begin to bend and extend at the right knee, getting into that hip flexor. You might appreciate a more static hold like a lizard. You could come down to your elbows, or you could continue the back and forth presses. I like to kind of open my knee out to the side a little bit and roll on to the right side of my right foot. And with your left hand down, you can send your right arm up towards the sky. If you have a block at home, you could also put a block under your left hand. Inhale. Exhale, lower back down, even everything out, and find your runner's lunge. From your runner's lunge, you can dial the left heel down, open up to your warrior two. Take a moment here to take up space. Check your feet, make sure the back of your front heel is in line with the arch of your back foot. Knee is stacked over ankle. Keep your chest lifted and breathe. Might feel good to circle the wrists a little bit and the neck. On the inhale, flip your front palm and reverse your warrior. Just getting into that side body. Turning back to warrior two. Now taking the right forearm to the inner right thigh, sending the left arm up towards the sky for your side angle. Returning back to warrior two. In breath, reverse your warrior. Exhale, side angle. Just moving with your breath. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, side angle. And the next time you're in that side angle, take your right hand to your right shin and extend your right leg. Keep a micro bend in the right knee for your triangle. Inhale, come back up towards center, warrior two. You can circle sweep the hands, frame the right foot, and step back for chaturanga. Optionally keeping the right leg lifted. Exhale, lowers you down. Inhale, heart bursts open, chest lifts. Exhale, curl the toes, down dog. To the other side now. So left leg, inhale, send it up. Exhale, curl knee to the chest. Inhale, send the left leg up. Exhale, step the left foot towards the left thumb. Finding your runner's lunge here in your thunderbolt position by placing your left hand to the outside of your left knee to activate your glute and sending your right arm up towards the sky. Keeping feet hip distance, really noticing the strength in the left leg. And then lowering your right hand down to the mat. You can step the left foot out a little bit, even off your mat. You can take some back and forth presses. You can drop the right knee. And with your right hand down on your mat and your left leg stepped out a little bit, you can reach your left arm up towards the sky for a runner's lunge twist COVID edition. And releasing back down. Stepping your left foot in a little bit more, curling the toes, picking up the knee if you had dropped it, coming back up into your runner's lunge. And now you can open up to the right side of the room, drop the right heel down for your warrior two. Just taking up space here, breathing, noticing the weight of the body. Inhale, flip the palm, reverse your warrior, left palm up towards the sky. Return to your warrior two. And find your side angle, placing your left forearm to the inside of your left thigh. And then beginning to rotate back and forth. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale, side angle. Next time you're in that side angle, put your left hand on your left shin and extend the left leg. Again, keeping a micro bend in the left knee to protect it for your triangle. Right arm up towards the sky. Come returning to your warrior two. Circling your hands to frame the left foot. Stepping back for chaturanga. Exhale lowers you down. Inhale, heart opener. Exhale, curl the toes, down dog. Couple resetting breaths here. Just notice how the spine is starting to elongate and feel a little bit more natural. And you can either walk or hop to the top of your mat and find your chair pose, sinking hips down, toes touch, knees stacked over ankles. And take your left forearm or left wrist to the inside of your left thigh and find that right hand sweeping up that we found in the beginning. This time just holding, making sure the hips stay even and the weight is evenly distributed. Center, stabilize your left foot, put your hands on top of your left thigh and begin to send the right leg back out behind you with your right foot flexed for warrior three variation. If you'd like to extend your arms in front of you, go for it. 2 breaths here. Squeeze the glutes. And slowly lower the right leg down for a crescent lunge. Make sure your foundation is good. Your feet are hip distance apart. On the exhale, just tap the knee. Inhale, back up. Let's do 10 of these. Lunges are easily one of the most overlooked and important postures when it comes to preventing injury and remaining able to be mobile for a long time. That's what we want, sustainability and longevity. So move slow, move gently. Stick with the basics. And then after your last lunge, begin to open up towards the mirrors or the right side of the room for those of you at home, and to find your goddess pose. So I'll face for the camera, but toes out, heels in, sinking your hips down, knees over ankles. You can find a mudra. You can just put your hands in front of your heart. You might like to just put your hands on your knees by your side. Giving yourself 5 breaths here to really feel the heat build. And then beginning to set up for your Ardha Chandrasana on your right leg, your half moon pose. So from your goddess, begin to pour your weight into your right leg and lift the left limbs up. If you have a block at home, this would be a great time to use one. Otherwise, you can aim for the ground about 6 to 9 inches in front of your foot. And try not to pour too much weight into the ground if you can. Try to use your abs to keep you up. Any shaking is just strengthening those very important muscles in your feet. One more breath. Exhale, slowly lower your left foot back down for a warrior 2 facing the front of the room. Circle sweep the hands to frame the left foot and step back for your 3-legged dog. Opportunity here with your left leg up to either flip your dog or just open up at the left hip flexor. Returning back towards center, and then shaking it all off with a chaturanga, vinyasa of choice. Or you can always skip the push-ups and just meet in down dog. Resetting breath here. And then floating or walking to the top of your mat, sinking down into your chair pose. Now same thing on the other side, right forearm to the inside of the right thigh as you sweep up towards the left. Maintaining that mind-body connection, just checking in with your breath here. Returning towards center, stabilize your right foot, and begin to send the left leg out back behind you for warrior 3 variation. Try to not peel the left hip open, try to keep it facing the ground. One more breath. And slowly lowering the left leg down with control and taking some dips here. Exhale, knee taps. Inhale, stand back up. And really take your time to feel all of those muscles in the hips engage as you go up and down, squeezing at the top. Moving with your breath. Two more. And now opening up towards the left side of the room, toes out just slightly. And instead of goddess this time, take your hands to your hips. And we're just going to take a wide-legged forward fold. So keep your spine long and your tailbone tucked. And slowly begin to hinge at the hips, using your core muscles to go down with control. And if it feels right, reaching the ground. And then again, connecting with that sense of play. So sometimes when things in life are difficult and we're faced with situations that are intense, our mind becomes boggled and muggied and we don't really know it's just a little shady. So sometimes to approach even the toughest situations with a little bit of compassion and playfulness can give us the clarity we need to get through the situation. So always give yourself this, in yoga, this cautious exploration where you're maintaining the integrity of the pose, but you're always allowing yourself to be creative and respectful of what's going on in your body. So maybe that looks like shaking the head. Maybe you can grab the left leg and walk your hands over to the right leg. You could reach in between. Or maybe just hanging static. But just let yourself feel just this like hanging out of the hip socket. Three more breaths here. And then with as much control as you came down, taking your hands to your hips, using your abs to pick yourself all the way up. And then setting up for half moon on the left leg. So left toes facing the back of the room. If you have a block, this would be a great time to use it. If not, just try to keep your core engaged as you place your weight into your left leg and send your right limbs up towards the sky. Squeezing your glutes, flexing your toe. One more big breath. Really let yourself shake. And then slowly lower the right leg back down for warrior two, facing the front of the room. You can circle your hands down to frame the right foot and step back for your three-legged dog. Option to flip your dog here with your right leg up or dial your right hip open. And then when you're ready, shifting forward, lowering down on an exhale. Inhale, heart goes open, slight bend in the elbows, keeping them in towards the side. Exhale, curl your toes under, downward facing dog. Take a big breath here and let it go. One more big breath. And exhale, shift forward for your plank pose. So just really settling here, gripping the floor like a basketball. Imagine I'm pressing in between your shoulder blades and you're pressing my hand away. Squeeze your glutes. 5 breaths. One more big breath. Staying in plank, just lowering down to your elbows now. Letting yourself shake, squeeze the glutes. 5 breaths. One more big breath. And you can lower all the way down to the ground now. Find your Sphinx pose by placing your elbows underneath your shoulders, lifting your chest. Give your shoulders some space away from your neck. And this is just stretching out the core that we just worked. And then make a pillow for your forehead with your left forearm. And reach back behind you with your right arm to grab your right ankle if it's accessible. try to keep the thighs together to protect the knees for a quad stretch on the right side. Taking it to the left side now, making a pillow with your right forearm and reaching back with your left hand. Keeping the thighs together to protect the knees. And releasing down. Finding your baby cobra when you're ready. Shoelace sides of the feet into the ground. Kneecaps lift. Core and glutes squeezing. Elbows squeezing into sides. You can tent the fingers and then pull them back a little bit. Keeping the shoulders away from the ears. Gaze 1 or 2 feet in front of you. And just working those upper back muscles. 3 more breaths. Exhale lowers you all the way down. And this time you can either baby cobra, you can either reach back for locust, or if you'd like you can bend your knees and grab your ankles for your bow pose. Either way, you have 5 breaths here to work on these integral low back and upper back muscles that are so healing to have strong, so preventative. So mind-body connection, stay with those muscles. 1 more big breath. Exhale lowers you all the way to the ground. When you're ready, you can push up to your tabletop position and take any authentic movement that might feel good here. That might be cat-cow, maybe some hip circles. Could be child's pose. Just listening to what your body needs. Breathing, reconnecting with your breath. It never left. And when you're ready, gently making your way onto your seat. You can send your legs out long in front of you. You're gonna take a forward fold, and so it's totally up to you if you'd rather have your legs straight out in front of you. You might like a wide-legged forward fold, or you might even like a bound angle. But either way, make sure before you begin to hinge, you take a big breath and you straighten your back and you only fold forward with integrity. And give yourself permission here to just relax. The only work right now is to give yourself that permission. We're on like a constant overdrive, and our mind is just trying to protect us. And sometimes even when there's not a threat, we're just so used to thinking. So give yourself that break. You're not missing out on anything. You're not late. You're not behind. And in fact, giving in to that sensation and just breathing is going to make you more present and more productive and loving with the people you are with later on. My meditation teacher often says, what is the point of meditation if we can't be present with the people around us? Your yoga practice doesn't end when you get off the mat. If anything, that's when it starts to show the work. Two more breaths. And returning to your seat, you can let the legs go long if they were bent and just kind of shake them out a little bit. And you can pull your right knee into your chest. It might feel good to just kind of keep it where it is, or you might like to bring your right foot over your left knee. And then take a twist towards the right side of the room. Inhale, elongate your spine, and exhale, twist. Looking over your right shoulder. Inhale, elongate, exhale, twist. There's always something for the mind to be doing. See if you can stay with your breath. Three more conscious breaths here. And then slowly returning towards center, taking it to the other side, bending the left knee, giving it a squeeze. You can keep it where it is, or you can cross it over the right knee, and then begin to twist and look over your left shoulder. Imagining in a non-COVID world when I could assist you, me applying gentle pressure on your low back, kind of providing a lifting up sensation while you inhale, and then an exhale twist. One more breath. And returning back towards center now, shaking it all out. Now, for pigeon, it's totally up to you if you'd rather take prone pigeon, but I'm just going to cue it on the back. So, on your back pigeon, you can lay down, bend your knees, place your feet underneath your knees, and cross your right ankle over your left knee. This might be exactly where you stay. You might choose to pick the left leg up off the ground and kind of bring it a little closer to you. You might like to grab behind the left thigh or extend the left leg up. It's kind of a figure four, half pigeonish shape here. And it will probably look different for everybody based on what your body needs. I like to rock back and forth side to side. Sometimes I just like the static, held long postures. Notice where your mind is. Is your energy being pulled towards the no longer existent past or the unpredictable future? You can always bring it towards the present by connecting with your breath or the sensations in your body, the sounds in the room. Just pull that energy back towards you. One more breath. And releasing your feet down, taking it to the other side now. Left ankle crossing over right knee. Might feel good to kind of gently press away the left thigh. And again, any variation that feels good to you. You might like to lift the right leg up. You could extend it. You could rock side to side. Three more breaths here. And releasing down, evening everything back out. Might feel good to shake the legs a little bit. And then pulling your right knee into your chest. And just like we did in the beginning, interlacing your right hands behind your right thigh and just sending the right heel up towards the sky for a hamstring stretch. Notice how different it feels now. Then exhale, pull the knee towards the chest, wind removing pose, avoiding the rib cage. Allowing for this tourniquet effect in the hip joint to occur. When you release your right leg down to the ground, just take a big breath and allow that fresh blood, fresh oxygenated blood to circle through the hip joint. And taking it to the left side now, bending the left knee, hugging it into the chest. Interlacing your hands behind your left thigh and sending your left heel up towards the sky. And when you're ready, you can bend the knee and pull it into the chest, again avoiding the rib cage. And lowering back down, big breath in, just letting everything reset. And now, when you feel ready, bend your knees, place your feet underneath your knees, and just drop your knees to the left. You can open your arms out wide. You can look over your right shoulder. And again here, there's so much variation that it's just this cautious exploration. It feels very good to me to extend the top right leg, lift it up a little bit. Some people like to kind of interlace the legs. It might feel good to just stay completely still. tuning into that sensation of breath. Five more breaths here. And slowly returning towards center. And taking it to the other side, dropping the knees to the right, looking over the left shoulder. Taking any variation that feels good to you. Sensation of ground being held. Five more breaths. And slowly returning towards center. Knees bent. You can touch the toes together and drop the knees open for a bound angle. Butterfly. Maybe placing your one hand on your chest and one on your stomach to reconnect with that sense of breath. And just letting gravity do the work. It might feel good to stay where you are. You might like to find your Shavasana by just extending your legs out, but allow your hips to stay open and just take up a lot of space. Tracing the breath and its journey through your body. When your mind becomes distracted, which it inevitably will, just noticing and gently and compassionately coming back to your breath, coming back to the present moment. as you lay here, present on this beautiful Monday morning, you have the opportunity to change the energy that you show up with. We can't control anything else but that. So what are you deciding for yourself this week? A lot of people define success differently. But for me, you can have all the money in the world, but if it's not enjoyable, if it's not sustainable, if you can't be a person of integrity while having all of these things, then what does it matter? Happiness. It's integral. Your value is internal. Your value is internal. Take another big breath in. Let it go. Begin to slowly wake up the body a little bit, maybe wiggling the fingers and the toes. You can roll onto one side in a fetal position. And just taking a moment here to thank yourself and to recognize the work that you put in for yourself that will ultimately benefit all those around you. Taking another big breath in and letting it go. Slowly pushing up to a seated position. You can rub the palms together and place them on your heart or your belly. And just taking a big breath in and letting it go. Take a moment and just think of one thing that happened to you in the last 24 hours that you're grateful for. Not like something big, but just something you're grateful for. And just relive it for a second. This week, try to give something without remembering. And if you receive something, try not to forget it. We'll close the practice with the sound of Om. First, a big breath in. Let it go. Breath in. Thank you very much. for sharing your practice with me. Namaste.